All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. We're unpacking 6 wild tech developments that literally all broke on the exact same night, revealing the absolute chaotic reality of the 2026 tech frontier. If you ever thought the tech world took a night off to sleep, well, this single Tuesday night proves otherwise.
So, we've got a packed agenda tonight. We're going to cover the supply chain threat, that crazy Ocean Smartwatch leak, Ethereum's massive accumulation, the growing movement to reclaim our tech ecosystems, and we'll wrap it up with the SpaceX IPO dilution risk.
Section 1, the supply chain threat. Let's get into it.
You know, hackers aren't just kicking down the digital front door anymore. Now, they're basically poisoning the water supply. They built this Trojan horse, a package called Codex UI Android, and disguised it to look exactly like a legit OpenAI Codex interface. They uploaded it to the NPM registry, slapped some fake but convincing documentation on it, and just waited for developers to download it. And once it infiltrated those environments, it quietly stole their OpenAI Codex API tokens.
And here's the kicker. Before this whole thing was finally exposed by the Hacker News on June 1st, that package was hitting 29,000 weekly downloads. I mean, think about that. Thousands of developers unwittingly handed over the keys to their cloud environments, exposing themselves to massive, unauthorized API charges. It's a huge wake-up call, showing that blind trust is absolutely our biggest modern vulnerability.
So how do we defend against this kind of systemic risk? Well, it really comes down to rigorous, almost paranoid vetting. You have to verify before you install. Always check those download counts and update dates, run NPM audit on your projects, and definitely employ automated security tools like Snyk or Dependabot. Oh, and freeze your versions using lock files. But the absolute golden rule here, never ever store your API tokens in public code, period.
Okay, so moving from invisible, malicious code to physical hardware, what actually happens when a tech giant's tightly guarded secrets literally wash up on a beach? That brings us to Section 2, the Ocean Smartwatch leak.
Now, we've all heard stories about prototypes left behind in bars or taxis, right? But this is just on another level. Borderlands creator Randy Pitchford tweeted that a buddy of his actually found an unreleased, fully functional Google smartwatch while scuba diving near St. Martin in the Caribbean, literally underwater. It had Pixel Watch 5 engraved right on the back, and get this, even after being submerged in the ocean, the Wear OS interface was completely visible and working.
Naturally, analysts are fiercely divided on this. Was it a ridiculously careless accident or a totally genius marketing stunt? Look at the pros. It's free global advertising and it builds massive viral hype way before Google's late 2026 event. But on the flip side, it prematurely reveals the design, basically hands features over to competitors, and raises some very serious questions about how Google is actually managing their highly sensitive prototypes.
So, while Google is out there losing prototypes in the actual ocean, you might be wondering, who is swimming in a sea of cryptocurrency right now?
Let's pivot to Section 3, Ethereum's massive accumulation.
We need to talk about Tom Lee's investment firm, BitMine. They just pulled off a massive $52 million purchase, snatching up millions in Ethereum in one fell swoop. That pushes their current holdings to 4.49% of all the Ethereum in existence. That puts them dangerously close to their staggering ultimate goal of capturing a full 5% of the global supply.
To put that into perspective, let's compare it to MicroStrategy's famous Bitcoin strategy. MicroStrategy holds about 1.02% of the total Bitcoin supply for long-term accumulation. BitMine is aggressively gunning for 5% of Ethereum. That strategy carries an absolutely terrifying market impact risk. Because they're trying to absorb such a huge chunk of the total supply, if they ever decided to sell, they could literally crash the market. It's a massive, high-stakes bet on DeFi.
All right, let's shift gears from high finance to our everyday user experience. Are users and platforms finally getting fed up with the so-called future?
That brings us to Section 4, Reclaiming Tech Ecosystems.
Right now, we are seeing a massive coordinated pushback. This no AI rebellion is spreading like wildfire. DuckDuckGo just launched browser extensions that completely filter out AI-generated results. And traffic to their no AI portal literally tripled in just 48 hours. People are actively fleeing those fabricated AI summaries because they want traditional, verifiable human sources. At the same time, creators are loudly protesting language models, scraping their work without credit. Basically, there's this intense, growing desire from users to regain control of their web experience.
And you know, it's not just happening on the web. Sony is reclaiming its own ecosystem too.
They're forcing publisher Webnetic to pull over 1,000 shovelware games from the PlayStation Store. If you don't know, shovelware is basically low-quality, copy-paste digital junk designed for quick profit. By forcefully purging all this clutter, PlayStation is taking a hard stance to radically clean up the store and improve the user experience for actual gamers.
So as we fight to reclaim our digital spaces here on Earth, what exactly are the financial realities of reaching for the stars?
Let's hit our final dispatch. Section 5, SpaceX IPO Dilution Risk.
Okay, everyone gets excited about the idea of a SpaceX IPO, but before we analyze the risk, we need to lock down exactly what share dilution actually means. Think of a company like a pie. Share dilution happens when the company decides to slice that exact same pie into smaller and more numerous pieces to sell to new investors to raise capital. The pie itself didn't get any bigger, but your individual slice, it just got noticeably smaller. This directly decreases existing stockholders' ownership percentage.
Now apply that to SpaceX. Their valuation currently sits at an incredibly attractive $1.75 billion. But their long-term goals, stuff like building Starship and literally colonizing Mars, require a desperate ongoing amount of capital. In a recent IPO update, management explicitly warned about future share issuance. This means current and future early investors face a huge risk of their shares being heavily diluted over time. If you want to protect your investment, you really have to look into buying Class A shares for higher voting power, or securing preemptive rights before they even hit the public market.
Well, as we wrap up this explainer, I think this quote perfectly sums it all up. The tech world is full of unexpected developments, even on quiet Tuesday nights. It really captures the absolute whirlwind of events we just unpacked today. I mean, from Caribbean ocean leaks and $52 million crypto grabs to literal space funding warnings, the tech frontier just never stops shifting.
Whether it's developers fighting off stealthy supply chain hacks or everyday users actively rebelling against an AI-saturated web, the ultimate question is this: are we controlling the tech frontier, or is it controlling us? I'll leave you with that thought to ponder. Keep questioning the systems you use every single day, vet your sources, and protect your data. Thanks so much for joining me tonight, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.